I once received a gift from a local friend so bad that it meant having to leave it at a thrift shop in another town to avoid the risk of the giver coming across it and realizing what I'd done. But while single people may chuckle at the idea of God giving such a potentially unwanted gift, we need to be careful and recognize what and who it is that we're laughing at. God is no fool. He is not the uncle who still thinks you're 12 when you're well into your 30s and sends you childish gifts. He is the creator who made you and knows you. He is the one who orders all things and does so for your good. To roll our eyes at what a well-meaning but mistaken relative gives us is one thing. To roll our eyes at omniscience is another. If we balk at the idea of singleness being a gift, it is not because God has not understood us, but because we have not understood him. So what does this mean? What is the gift of singleness? The nature of the gift. Given what we've already seen about the negative ways in which singleness has been viewed, many Christians have taken the gift of singleness to mean some special capacity to cope with it. It's an unusual endowment that enables certain chosen people to survive as single. It's like a superpower. And like a superpower, we presume it must be rare and unusual. The whole point of superheroes is that their powers are abnormal. That's part of the appeal. They are set apart from the rest of us. And so those with the gift of singleness must be a select group who can cope with singleness in a way the rest of us cannot. It seems to fit what Paul is saying and to fit our experience of what singleness is like. But there are a number of problems with this way of thinking. 1. It is ultimately another way of denying the intrinsic goodness of singleness. Think about it. If singleness requires a special spiritual superpower just to survive it, it must be really terrible. Alice Sue compares the gift of singleness to anesthesia during surgery. Between the lines is the idea that nobody would ever make a conscious choice to stay single if he or she had the opportunity to marry. This reinforces a number of common and faulty ways of thinking that a life without marriage is not really life to the full, and therefore that people desirous of such a life, even if for the sake of the kingdom, are ultimately choosing something quite unhealthy. Singleness, in and of itself, has nothing good going for it and so requires a special gift to make it bearable. 2. It can encourage bitterness rather than the pursuit of godly contentment. For those who are single and unhappily so, this thinking can be a way of writing off the contentment others may have in being single. They obviously have the gift of singleness, whereas I don't. 3. It unwillingly permits disobedience. What if certain singles are convinced they don't have the gift of singleness, yet find themselves in a situation where the only opportunities for a romantic relationship involve sin? Imagine they have always been exclusively same-sex attracted, or that they are in a context where there are simply no eligible Christians of the opposite sex to marry. What is the answer? Either way, God seems to have gotten something wrong. And if the choice is rejecting the idea that they don't have the gift of singleness after all, or rejecting the idea that same-sex or spirituality mixed partnerships are wrong, I know which they will most likely choose. I've seen it time and again. I think of a woman who married a non-Christian justifying it because I know God doesn't want me to be unmarried. I think of another individual whose rationale for getting involved in a same-sex partnership was, I'm not called to celibacy, and so effectively had no other choice. Notice in both cases it is ultimately God's fault. He puts us in a situation where we have no capacity to obey him. But we know this is not how our loving Heavenly Father works. He is one. He is perfectly integrated in all he is and says and does. His word is never contradictory. Acceptance of one part of it never, ever involves denying another part of it. Obeying one word never involves disobeying another. To think any situation necessitates sin denies the perfect unity and integrity of God. It makes him like us, inconsistent and contradictory. It also denies his goodness, suggesting he is in the habit of stitching us up, calling us to do something and then withholding all ability to do it. 4. It is hard to see why someone should not apply the same logic to marriage. I know one or two people right now who are really unhappily married. One, Steve, not his real name, and his wife exist together solely as co-parents of their children. They don't have a friendship of their own anymore.